Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Kitetsu. So in this video I want to look at the new Blightwar box set, which is coming out September the 2nd from GamesWorkshop, and obviously it is for Age of Sigmar. I'm going to go over the contents of the box, also look at the war scrolls for probably just the two heroes really, and what I want to do is try and determine whether this box is actually worth buying, sort of based on the monetary value, but also like the contents of the box itself. You know, is the stuff in there any good? Is it stuff you'd want? I'm probably not really going to look at the war scrolls of the other models because they've kind of been out a while, so there's not really any point. Obviously, if you do have any specific questions, just ask them down below and I'll get back to you, as usual, in all of my videos. Please do like and subscribe. You guys have been literally killing it with all the support over here for the last couple of days. I'm over the moon. Literally, I think in 2 days I've had over 17 subscribers. That's amazing in 2 days. So I'm kind of glad that there's a group of you out there who share my enthusiasm for Age of Sigmar. It's great. So without much further ado, let's take a quick look at what's inside the box. Firstly, we have the two new heroes. As you may know by now, I love the lore in Age of Sigmar, and I particularly love the characters. They add the kind of personal flavour to each army that makes everything 10 times more interesting to collect and build and play, and I kind of like how Games Workshop makes them all so distinct from one another, so you can always find someone or maybe something that you can kind of root for and get behind. So for Nurgle, we have Horticulous Slime. I hope I'm saying that right because that's what I'm rolling with from now on. So from Games Workshop's community website, Slimux is Nurgle's grand cultivator, helping to seed and maintain the plagued gardens of his realm and beyond. On the tabletop, Horticulous has several powerful benefits that improve your Nurgle units, and he's more than capable of holding his own in close combat. Now, the War Scroll kind of gives us a little bit more insight into his character. Horticulous Slimux rides into battle perched upon the shell of his mount, Mulch. Epic name. As Nurgle's head gardener, he has the power to seed the gardens of Nurgle into the fabric of reality, churning the ground with his gruntle plough to summon it forth. I hope I'm reading that right. Surrounded by packs of beasts of Nurgle and wielding his lethal lopping shears, Horticulous is a being to be greatly feared. So, he sounds great fun from a lore perspective. Nurgle have always had a kind of humorous undertone to their characters and lore, and I'm kind of glad to see that remain in place with Horticulous. He seems kind of very much in keeping with what you should hope for. If you're into Nurgle and you really want a new character to come out, that's probably what you would want. In terms of his model, I really love it. Mulch looks great and has an excellent name. His shell looks really cool. The detail is fantastic on the model. I think it would be like a pretty good centerpiece to any sort of Nurgle army, so I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks really cool. On the other side of the coin, we have Neave. I think her model is a bit more of a standard Stormcast affair. Not to say it isn't great. I love the pose. You know, you've got the choice of having the helmet on or off, which is cool. The two axes look pretty dangerous, shall we say. And to be honest, I think these are the type of characters I kind of like in my armies, where they're not too over the top. They've got a great story background, to be determined in this case, I suppose. And, you know, a great set of rules. And believe me, Neave has some great rules. She reminds me of kind of Khan the Betrayer from 40k in that she likes to hit things a lot. Yeah, definitely a lot with those two axes that she's got. And on her war scroll it says, swift as lightning and as utterly devastating, Neave Blacktalon is a single-minded hunter and slayer of the enemy's most powerful lords. So she kind of goes after the leaders and generals of opponents' armies, which is cool. Utilising the Aetheric, am I saying that right? Who knows? Tailwinds of her ranger comrades to close the distance to their quarry. Blacktalon strikes before her victim even sees her coming, and hews them apart with a torrent of blows from the whirlwind axes. So she does sound pretty cool, and I must admit I do like the kind of little subset of faction that she's from, but we'll look at those a little bit more in a minute. What about the rest of the models? So from the Nurgle half of the box, you basically get the Nurgle Demons Start Collecting box, which I guess that's a good thing if you don't already have it. You get some good models in that set. I've been tempted to get it myself actually, because if you don't know this about me already, I love my Skaven Pestilens. So now that they can ally with Nurgle Demons, that was quite a tempting prospect, and yeah, I was thinking of picking it up, but you don't actually get the Herald of Nurgle, which I've put the little red box around over there, which is a shame, because typically with Games Workshop Start Collecting boxes, when they include some sort of hero or character, they massively overprice them. So I don't know how much it is at the moment, but probably far too much. So, you know, obviously being a Start Collecting box, you do get some good savings in here. I think the box, the retail is going to be £50 for a Start Collecting box, but in the UK I always get these things 25% cheaper online, so £37.50, pretty good bargain. What about the Stormcast though? So you get an extra box of Raptors. If you actually see on these slides, by the way, I've kind of indicated roughly what the price of these units would be if you buy them separately, just to try and sort of gauge what kind of value we're looking at here. So yeah, you've got a box of Raptors, which I assume you can stick together in both of their weapon variant configurations. You've got the Vanguard Paladors, which is pretty cool. You know, I love those models. You've got the Hunters, except this is where the value is a bit difficult to gauge because you only get 5 in this box, and normally you'd have a box of 10. I do actually really love these models though. I decided literally a few days ago that I wanted to include some Raptors in my current 1000 point Stormcast list, so it's another incentive for me to pick up this box, which is good. I mean, if you've already got these figures, again, it's possibly less of an incentive to go out and buy this, but you know, the Raptors are really good. They've got a ridiculous fire output. As for the Paladors, I haven't really been keeping up with the Stormcast as well as I should have lately, because I've been all about the Pestilens and the Sylvaneth, but I think the models are beautiful. They've got a really unique, deadly and awesome ability, which we'll get onto in a second. So, you know, I really love the whole theme of these Hunter models, the Paladors and the Raptors really. They do really look good when they're fielded on a table as well amongst their Liberator brethren, so the concept of them is really cool and they look great, so that's always a plus. Now, that's what's in the box. So the obvious question is all of that worth your money? Now, looking at this set, I'm going to say I'm a little bit disappointed, and I'm going to kind of compare it to the starter set that came out right at the beginning of Age of Sigmar's launch, basically. Or at least I assume it came out right at the beginning. I wasn't there right at the very start. I don't know. The Blightwar box set is £95, but the starter set is only £75. And the starter set has 47 models compared to the 32 in Blightwar. Not only that, but the starter set models are actually very comparable in scale and selection quality, so even when you take into account the 2 new heroes in Blightwar, I'd say you kind of easily make up for them with Vanda's Hammerhand and Korga's Cull and a Korgorath in the starter set, so yeah, and I don't really see what their justification is for these big wild discrepancies in price, because you know at the time this Warhammer Age of Sigmar starter set came out, every single figure in this box was like a brand new sculpt, so it doesn't really make sense. I kind of wish Games Workshop had followed their trend of releasing these ridiculous value sets, but that being said, I haven't tallied it up, but I don't doubt that there are still some absolutely massive savings to be had compared to buying anything individually. I kind of actually predicted that the Blightwar set was going to be where's the picture? Here we go. I kind of predicted that the Blightwar set was going to be kind of like the replacement set for Spire of Dawn, which I don't know if you've seen this set, but it literally just came off sale, so I guess they're a collector's item now. But the value of this set was absolutely ridiculous. It had 74 miniatures in it, and it was only £50. So, I mean, look at this list of stuff from this set. It's crazy. There's like this giant, what is it? Is it the High Warden? I'm not sure. That giant flying eagle. You've got rat ogres. You've got weapon teams that were exclusive to the set. Even the rat ogres I think were exclusive to the set, so I just don't quite see the logic of where these prices come from. So it's a shame Blightwar wasn't cheaper, but you know, when I think about it, is it just me, or did the second General's Handbook also creep up in price? Because I'm sure the first one was 15 and the second one's currently 20, so we've got our eye on you, Games Workshop. We know what your game is, but all jokes aside, it is still a good value set, and if you want to start a Nurgle army and or a Stormcast army, it's a good starting point, and I guess it's a good starting point like as an introduction to the game. It's very good for that as well, but I think as a new player I'd probably have to recommend the actual £75 odd starter set. So, you know, also if you buy these things online like I do, the starter set you can get for a little over £50, and I think this Blightwar set comes down to about 71, just over 71 I think, so you know, it's a far more appealing prospect buying these things online. But that being said, if you have a lot of these figures or sets already, I would probably hold fire. Even if you really like the 2 heroes, I think there's a good chance they could become available separately later on, like Vandus and Cull did from the starter set. So let's kind of finish this up by having a look at the War Scrolls. Starting with Neave. She has a Bolt Storm pistol, nothing too special about it, but it kind of hits some wounds on 3s, which is, you know, that's good. No rend, but it does have the 2 attacks, so nothing crazy, but not too shabby either. She has 6 wounds, and I'm a big fan of the 3-up save, which is nice. I think it's actually her axes that make her shine. They have a crazy 7 attacks, also 3s and 3s. This time with a -1 rend, which is brilliant. And the really cool thing here is that all of her attacks, whether made by the pistol or axes, do 2 damage against enemy heroes due to a Nemesis special rule. So that's some of her lore kind of coming into a War Scroll, which is really good. And suddenly her axes become even more crazy, because every hit roll of a 6 generates an extra attack. I love it. And I think, what's her other ability? Windrider, sorry. Thinking about Sylvaneth, aren't I? The Wildriders. Her Windrider ability allows her to basically move with any unit that uses the Ride the Wind's Aetheric. I really hope I'm saying that right. And basically that includes the Paladors that she's boxed with. So she's got some really good mobility for like hopping around the board and, you know, capturing objectives or getting to where she needs to be. For those of you who don't really know what that ability is, I personally didn't either, I had to look it up. Ride the Winds Aetheric is, let's see, in the movement phase, a unit of Vanguard Paladors can choose to ride the Winds Aetheric instead of moving normally. If they do so, choose the direction in which they will move, roll 6 dice. That's quite a lot of dice. The unit can move up to a number of inches equal to the result in the direction chosen, moving over terrain and other models as if they could fly. They must end their movement more than 3 inches from enemy models, so that's still pretty close to be honest, and if this is impossible, they cannot move at all. Now the downside is they can't run or charge when they've done that, but even so, that's a very, very good ability. Think about that, 6 dice rolls, convert that into inches. Do some maths this, 36 potential inches of movement. So finally, let's have a quick look at Horticulous Slimux. He has 8 wounds. I think 10 bravery is pretty much a signature of demons, so he comes with that as standard. He's also got the 3-up save, which is nice. No ranged attacks for him. Instead, he has his lopping shears and slime encrusted jaws, which is obviously from Mulch. The hit and wound rolls are 3-up for basically all of his attacks, which is really nice. He makes 3 with the shears and D3 with the jaws, so not bad. Could be better, could be worse. There's some pretty good rend and damage output to be had here. His Mulch has got the -2 rend, which is, it's always great to have anything, you know, better than a -1 rend, just in case. And yep, as a Nurgle hero, he's got his disgustingly resilient rule, which is always a superb ability. Basically what that is if you take any kind of wound, it doesn't matter if it's a mortal wound or just a normal one, you have a 1 in 3 chance of ignoring it, and you still get your normal save, which is ridiculous. So you take a wound, you've tried to save it, you failed, so you've allocated the wound, then you make a special roll with the chance of just completely ignoring damage. So excellent, but not unique to him. Quite a lot of I think everything in the Nurgle range has it, certainly the demon range I would think. Now Beast Handler is a bit of an odd ability for this set, because apparently this is a Beast of Nurgle. So I'm kind of new to Nurgle, so I'm not too familiar with this army and particularly this character, but you don't actually get any of these in the box. So while it's a really great ability, it would have been nice to maybe have chucked a couple of those in the box, but what it does is it basically allows your Beast of Nurgle to re-roll hit rolls of 1, so that's really good, and re-roll failed charges within 14 inches of Horticulous. So a really nice ability, but just a bit strange he wasn't in the set. Let me just check the picture. Yeah, no, unless the flying, I'm not sure what they're called. Are they plague drones maybe? I don't know, I'm probably thinking of 40k now. We'll check that in a minute. But yeah, would have been cool to include some actual Beasts of Nurgle. And what other abilities have we got? We've got in Death there is Life. This is like a kind of, is playing on the theme that revolves around Nurgle. So they're all about their cycles of death and rebirth. It's kind of a little bit clunkily worded, but basically if a friendly unit dies within 7 inches of Horticulous, then all friendly models within those 7 inches heal a wound. So he's kind of got this little radius effect around him, which is nice. And the ability that I really like is the Ploughed Slime Trail. You basically get an auto D3 mortal wounds on an enemy unit within 3 inches if Horticulous retreats. So that's pretty cool. Overall, nicely rounded unit. And yeah, there you have it. I guess there's the new models and the war scrolls. I love the new characters. To be honest, I always love new characters, and these are no exception. Should you buy this box? As always, it depends really. You know, I'm lucky in that I want to collect Nurgle, and I already collect Stormcasts, but I don't actually have any of the Stormcasts in this set. So for me, everything's looking pretty good. That being said, I don't feel I need to rush out and buy it immediately because I've already got an insane backlog of models to build and paint, so don't we all? I kind of hope Games Workshop will make these heroes available separately because, you know, when they do that, it kind of just gives you a whole load more options with purchasing and collecting and, you know, just, it's always good to have more options. But if they do make them available separately, I can imagine that taking quite a while. You know, Corgus Cole and Vander's Hammerhand from the starter set. It did take them quite a long time to release them separately, but, you know, I guess what they want to do is they want to try and cash in on people actually buying this box set. You know, they don't want to eat into their own sales of their own product. Otherwise, hey, if everyone's got these models and, you know, all they want to get in this set is those 2 figures, and then they offer them separately, well, no one's going to buy the box. So I guess there's that way of looking at it from a business sense. Now, if you're lucky enough to know someone interested in the other half of the box, you know, you could always go halves on the costs, split the contents. If not, maybe you could say you want to collect the Stormcast and you're not interested in the Nurgle. Stick them on eBay or something. I'm sure you'll be able to sell them quite easily, especially if they're all on the sprue still. You know, you're looking at £50 worth of Nurgle Demons, or I didn't really tally up the Stormcast, probably potentially even more than that because they're not part of a start collecting box. So, you know, either way, I think it literally just depends really on you and what you're looking for from a box, but, you know, either way, it's still exciting to have a new set, and it's always nice to have new heroes in Age of Sigmar. I'm probably going to end this video here because I think we've covered it in quite a lot of depth, but thank you really so much for watching and for all of your support. Please do like the video. I don't get anything from it, but the buzz I get when I see that someone has showed me their appreciation is, you know, it's amazing. So, and obviously the ultimate honor is if you subscribe. You know, you guys are a great audience and you are why I do these videos. So, you know, if you follow me and watch the stuff I make, you know, that's why I do it. I want people to see the stuff I'm making. So anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.